First professional fight, first triangle choke in MMA, first set of cornrows, and first Gracie breakdown, all while he's still a teenager. 19-year-old Jean Paul right here, aka Mufasa. Brian T. City Ortega over there getting down December 8th in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And we're here to celebrate Jean Paul's first MMA fight. The transition was real. Jean Paul has been training jiu-jitsu since he's been 3 years old with one member of my family or another. And he's an incredible martial artist, practitioner, and human being. We're very proud of you. And talk to us a little bit, Jean Paul, about the transition from amateur, 7-0 as an amateur, first professional fight, LFA, Legacy Fighting Alliance with our guy Ed Suarez there, LFA 54. He did it. It must have been a little bit of a nerve-wracking experience to go amateur to pro, right? Like you're changing leagues here. Talk to us.
Yeah, so about a little over a year ago, almost 2 years, I made the transition from competing jiu-jitsu from my whole childhood now to fighting in amateur mixed martial arts. And that transition was a big one for me, but it took me a second to get used to it, but I became more and more confident as I started training more boxing with Team BBS and James Lurson and Brian, and then mixing in my jiu-jitsu that I grew up, learning and competing with at an amateur level, and it worked really well for me. I was able to use my jiu-jitsu in many different ways, but once this pro debut, there's just a lot more things that come into play. There's knees to the face, there's elbows, and overall it's a lot scarier in a sense, when you look at it, but I was prepared by world-class people, and I felt confident going in there, and I came out with a submission victory in the second round. So it was a very big moment for me, and I'm very happy that I went through with it.
We're super stoked, and Brian has been instrumental, and obviously, in terms of training and preparing for MMA, Jean Paul has had a great kind of mentor there, and Brian.
I mean, like I always tell him, man, you got the abilities that I haven't really seen in any normal teenagers.
Right.
Even with the last camp that I had with Max Holloway, he hung in with my entire camp. Never had anyone really hang in there with me the entire camp. People try, and then they can't no more. They're too sore. They just can't keep up with the amount of work that we put in. And this kid did it all. And that's when I went, all right, you know what? He's not a normal kid. He benches more than I do. So it's like, all right. So he's got different abilities. And I told him, man, I go, I was gonna fight on the summer, and then we're gonna get him ready for his. And we just like coexisted within each other's camps.
Right.
It was like, you're on the bag, I'm over here, now we switch. Now you're over here and I'm over here. We just learned how to just use the facilities that we had and pretty much just put in this work. And when we get together after some hard training, then we start talking a little bit about here and there and techniques and the mindset that goes when you're in a fight. And I mean, he did a good job.
It's beautiful. So talk to you a little bit about the fight itself.
I've seen a few videos of him on YouTube, and he was a kind of guy that rushes forward and tries to go in for the takedown. So for me, if I felt good about that, because I knew if it went to the ground that I would be able to use my jiu-jitsu and find the more dominant position or get a submission.
Right. Cool. So let's talk about it. There were some beautiful elements there. We'll cut the footage in here as you guys were discussing it. So the takedown was kind of weird. The one that kind of ended the fight. This guy blitzed you, shoots in. Well, he ends up here. You kind of pressured. He fell, and he tried to twist you on the way down, but you ended up with a solid mount, right? So it's almost like totally inadvertently. This guy pulled mount basically, but he expected to like body lock and throw Jean Paul. But he has great wrestling balance and great pressure, so he was able to stabilize and not get thrown. Ends up on the mount, and then talk us through your mindset at this point. Your hooks are in, your pressure is pretty low and solid. Walk us through the rest of it here.
Yeah, I remember I got low here, and I wanted to start setting up some elbows. So I would come up and throw some elbows, but as soon as I lifted my chest, he would use that space to turn his back, and that's when I would get my hooks in here.
And there was a couple cycles of these, right?
Right.
Where he would get up and he would roll back and you would kind of remount and reset right here, and then it would happen again. Hooks go back in. So I thought that was very good, because a lot of times what will happen in MMA is guy will get the back, put the hooks in, and then when the defendant rolls over, he loses top position, and then go do it again. But what will happen is you'll put the hooks in. A lot of times they'll roll with him, which is not wrong by any means, but then sometimes if their back mount isn't that good, homeboy will spin, and now you're on the bottom of the fight right here. So Jean Paul had several cycles of maintaining top position until eventually you got on his back and he did get up, right? So you're here, hooks are in, and then walk us through what happened when he started to build the house right here.
Yeah, so he started to build a house, and then I started falling forward because he lifted his hips up. And my mind went straight to an arm lock here, but I wasn't able to get my leg over his head.
Yeah, so he was like kind of ducking it here until he squared up.
Yeah.
And then he lost it. So there's so much what we were going to do right there. Come on up again. So show him the submission as it would have happened, right? In practice here, so the guy comes up, you come down, and you go belly down right there, yes. So you see how JP's ability to keep his hips over my shoulder and then step in front of my face right here is what the key factor was. But you kept your feet crossed behind for a second because you didn't feel like you could effectively get this leg in front of his face. And then Eugene was able to square this up, and then that put JP on the bottom here. Right away he starts striking, boom, boom, you use your feet to maintain stage 4 a little bit, and then what? You brought him back in, and then he landed right here with this shin in front, 1.5, just really basic punch protection, very clean, very simple, and he's here. And then eventually, this somehow snuck over the top, and then what?
I punched it in,
Boom.
and locked the triangle from
Brian,
the top.
right now, how'd you feel as an uncle? Right at this moment,
Well,
be honest.
I'll be honest. One thing is getting there, and one thing is finishing.
It's true.
So I was like, we're halfway there. Let's not get excited, but let's lock it up. You know?
Yeah.
I was just like, it's there. You know, it's there. Don't lose it. Because we had a fight before where we had a lot of submissions, and then it was like the guy was just too slippery, and I didn't want that. I didn't know if it was gonna be in his head or not.
I see that.
So I was just like, don't
A little
celebrate
bit
like
of
that.
flashback.
Last time he like celebrated too early, and then the guy survived, and then
They were out of there, yeah.
and then you get discouraged after every shot.
That's
you
true.
know? And he, like you say, he's big, but he's still a young buck, so he's got to learn how to like just keep going and going.
Yeah.
But once he locked it up,
Once that went in,
I was happy. And then
what?
Yeah, so I remember
like everyone was screaming things. I forgot exactly what was
Yeah.
screaming. I forgot what Mike was saying.
Yeah, so I was saying
I
hook the
heard you
legs.
say
So
hook the
I was
legs.
saying this and this. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. Brian said, grab the head.
Right, that's all I heard. I heard, grab the head. And that's when I knew to lock up the head and pull it in and finish the triangle, which is a very effective way.
Like basic.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like everything was
Super
like
basic.
like
Really
super basic.
Yeah.
as in
Now what's
terms of-
crazy is right
this
before
is-
the fight, you and Mike were backstage doing this. Show us what you were doing.
Yeah, we were drilling right here.
Literally, and tell them, since you're doing kids classes, this is
Yeah, I
how you
was gonna
teach.
say, that's
This
like
is the
what we
bully
teach
proof.
kids class.
This is how you teach bully proof.
How to do a triangle.
How to do a triangle.
Yeah, you punch one arm inside, open the guard, and then lock it up.
So then when JP was here in 1.5 and Homeboy brought his arm inside, he literally, like it was the actual bully proof variation of the triangle choke.
You know, I really can't emphasize enough that, you know, everybody who's helped me along my journey. I train at the Gracie Academy and Carlson Gracie, which is just down the street. And then, you know, Team BBS and Mike Safai and just everybody who's helped me for this camp and in the past. I couldn't have done it without them, and I just can't wait to get back at it and get better and improve and go out there again and fight for everybody. So.
Get down, bro. Proud of you. And, you know, now you got to get back to work and help this guy wrap up his camp. We just finished training right now, you guys.
Yeah, we're blessed to have like I said, we have the same support team, you know, a group of people, and they know exactly who they are, that they pretty much every single one of them is like a pillar in our house, you know, and without one of them, we would just be weak. And we have an entire team who works with us, and like I said, they worked with me, and then now they're working with him, and then now we just share them, and we become a bigger family together, and it's a great team.
Win, 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 win all the way around, you guys. Super proud. December 8th, you know where we're going to be, and hopefully you guys are there live or watching on pay-per-view. Max and Brian Ortega are going to get down, and this is the one. All the chips are on the table. We're very excited about it. We're training hard, and there's a certain level of uncertainty and unpredictability, but for everything that can be planned, trained, or prepared for, you better believe we're putting in the work. So we'll see you guys there. Right now it's Black Friday Super Sale. Go to the Gracie store, get a bunch of stuff, 25% off everything this weekend, so don't miss that opportunity. I'm going to Shanghai in January and in South Korea in January, like at 12th, 13th. So if you're in Asia, run, bike, plane, or hike, make sure you get to those seminars. All right, we'll see you guys. Much respect. Congratulations. Thank you guys. Boom. Get out of here. Peace.